today. Today's objectives are, we're going to figure out exactly what a client avatar is, why we need one, and how we create one. And like I said, you do need your notepad today, all right? Because when we're done, we may or may not have an entire client avatar designed for you. It's gonna be fun. So I would love for you to put your most pressing questions in the comments so we don't miss them. But again, as we go along, if I say something that you don't get, unmute, ask questions as we go, because that really does add value. And we do have Christy in charge of chat right now. So Christy will interrupt us if she finds a chat that is pressing. Something that's frustrating about Zoom is that as the person presenting, I don't see your chat very easily. Okay, I add this graphic to every single class I teach about marketing because it's that important. And we've all seen it before, but it is that important. But what if you had a way to shorten that 5 to 12 contact thing? What if you had a way that your clients purchase the first or second time they talk to you? No, identifying your ideal client avatar is the way that you can do that. So what is an ideal client avatar? A client avatar is the buyer persona of your ideal customer. So meet Wendy. Wendy owns 2 homes, one in the city and one in the country. She collects antiques. She's an empty nester. She drives a Tesla. She retired young and she loves to travel. Wendy is my client avatar for my custom furniture business. Wendy is exactly the customer who purchases from me. And because I've identified Wendy as my ideal client avatar, I sell to Wendy. And today we're going to figure out who yours is. Okay, so why do you need a client avatar? You're all wondering. Many of you do know. Anybody want to take some guesses about why you need a client avatar before we start looking at?
Don't waste time.
That's right. Don't waste time. What else?
You can more specifically target marketing.
Oh, perfect. You guys already know what you're doing. What else?
We sell to somebody's, not anybody's.
Oh, yes. Those are all good. So you need a client avatar so you know who they are. You know, it answers all the W questions: who, what, where, when, and how to reach them, right? Who are they? What do they do? Where do they live? When do they shop? That's really important. And how do you reach them? So yes, you answer all those questions so that you can reach them quickly. All right, so I based today's webinar, or class, I based today's class, it's not a webinar, it's a class, off of this customer avatar that was created by Digital Marketer. Don't worry about having to write down the URL. When I send out the replay, I will include this link in the replay. So this is what the client avatar worksheet looks like. I don't want you to fill it out now. I want you to take notes, because as we brainstorm, this stuff becomes more clear. But when we're done, when you download your client avatar, you will be able to fill it out very concisely, because you'll know all the answers when we're done. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Okay, so here's where you start taking notes. I want you to think about your favorite clients that you do business with and the people that you would love to do business with, and think about their goals and their values. What goals and values do they have? Are the goals and values of the clients that you are working with now in alignment with you, with your goals and values? And if they're not, how do you shift from serving those clients to serving clients whose goals and values align with you? Identifying the goals and values. So start writing down some of the goals and some of the values of your clients. Give me an example. I already know that many of you would send out cards, but give me an example of a business that you're with so that we can brainstorm that. So somebody besides a send out cards consultant or affiliate, tell me what business you're in. Nobody wants to volunteer? Okay,
Avon.
Avon. Okay, so let's say that you're an Avon consultant. The goals and values of clients that are shopping for Avon, what are they looking for? What are the goals and values that they have? So one of them is that Avon is known as a product that is cost effective, right? And so maybe one of their goals and value, I'm just making stuff up right now. So one of their
Right, but
goals,
that is changing. They have changed what they're doing. They haven't discussed it a whole lot, but they are, the products are more expensive now than they used to be. As they try to change the way that the packaging and the ingredients.
okay,
So it's changing.
so let's think about that. So maybe their goal isn't that they're frugal, maybe their goal is that they want to look younger.
Okay, good.
So
Thank you.
their goal is to look younger, or their goal is to get rid of their 11. I have an 11, right? Their goal is to get
Yes,
rid of-
yes.
Or their goal is to they want their skin to be more supple, or they have acne. So those are the kinds of goals that would work with a Mary Kay business. What else? What other businesses are out there?
A gift shop.
A gift shop, okay. So gift shops usually have a specific theme in them. They could be like, what's the theme? Like, what's the theme? What are the most of the gifts that you sell themed around? Is there are you
They're sort of country western.
country western? Okay. I know this one very well because for the first 10 years of my business, I sold to country primitive gift shops. So the goals and values of the clients of a country gift shop would be that they have old-fashioned taste, they love antiques, they value quality, they love their home to have that homey feel. We could talk all day about that one. They love the way things smell. Their goal, one of their goals may be that they want their help. They own an old home and they want to get rid of that funky old home smell. So they're totally into scents and candles and things like that. Okay. Do we have any more input, or are we ready to move on?
What about a doggy daycare?
Doggy daycare. So the goal of your clients is that they need someone to take care of their doggy when they're not home, and they want that person to treat their dog the same way that they would treat their dog, right? I mean, you guys can answer these questions about your business better than I can, but I'm just throwing that out. And they value, their values are, most pet owners are very, they're, what's the word I'm looking for? Humanitarian. They value the pet. They place a lot of value on pets and the benefits that owning a pet brings to your family. Okay. Oh, I do want to tell you that I set my alarm on my phone for 1:25, or it's 1:25 Eastern, so that we don't go over. Okay. So next, challenges and pain points. So after we figure out what the goals and values of our clients are, then we have to figure out what it is that they want, what it is that they need, what's preventing them from getting what they want or what they need, and how we can fulfill their wants and needs. So let's go back to that doggy daycare. One of the challenges is they may not trust the daycare, because their pet is like a member of their family, and they need to know that there is that they can trust the doggy daycare. A pain point from Avon is, again, those 11s. They've been living with these wrinkles for long enough, and they're this close to Botox. Don't do it, Candace. Don't get Botox. So, okay, with the gift shop right now, one of the challenges with the gift shop is you can't be open. So how do we deal with that challenge? How do we overcome that? Well, this is a challenge for the client, not for you. So one of the challenges is that they can't shop in person. So how do we serve them if they can't shop in person? Anybody want to throw anything else out there? No? Okay, we're moving on. Sources of information. This is a really, really interesting one. So for the Country Gift Shop, you know that they're reading Country Primitives magazine, or I don't know what magazines are out there anymore because it's been over 10 years since I've marketed to that demographic. But there are lots of magazines out there that were designed for country people who love country items, and so that's one of the places where they go right away. Let's see, Dog People. They've got conferences down there and gurus. Dog People may watch The Dog Whisperer. I've never seen him, but I heard there's a guy called The Dog Whisperer. Conferences. So this could also be churches or like Chamber of Commerce kind of things, local events. It doesn't have to be a conference. Would be other places that they may go, like church, like things that they volunteer for. Where would they hang out if they're not shopping for what you sell? Something good to know is what they collect. Like, I knew that my clients collected antique furniture because they told me that they collected antique furniture, and they needed me because we could make them a king size bed that matches their antique furniture. Any questions here? This one's pretty self-explanatory. Anything? You guys have some notes that you're taking down? Want to share? Yes? No? All right. Here we go. Objections and roles. Okay, so the role is the person the final, oh, look, I spelled decision wrong. Typo. Is the person that you're talking to, is your client the person who brings out their credit card and pays for it? All right, so with my custom furniture business, I wasn't always talking to the final decision maker. I was talking to the person who made all the choices, and then the credit card payment was made by somebody else. Okay, so you have to understand that you're not just convincing the person that you're talking to, you got to convince the person who makes the purchase. Are you understanding where I'm coming from? Okay, so objections. Let's just go back to Avon. Avon is reformulating all their stuff. So a possible objection is, isn't Avon for old ladies? How do you come over that objection? Or, I don't know about a new formula. I like my old formula. Doggy daycare. We want to avoid price as an objection at all possible costs. However, with doggy daycare, that could be an objection. And how do we overcome it? Well, we treat your dog like it's part of our family too, right? Questions, comments here? Are you guys taking notes and writing things down and getting ideas? Awesome.
I've got a comment on
Hey.
question.
Yes.
Hey, are you there? Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
Uh-huh.
Doggy prices. My prices are very reasonable. So when it comes to prices, I'm like, they ask what I charge. I'm like, this is what I charge. And if they say, well, that's too much, and I say, well, you don't want to know what I'll say. I'll say, go find a kid to do it. But no, seriously, because my prices are really reasonable, I'll just say, well, if you compare it to PetSmart or wherever you're taking your dog, they find out that it is a lot less reasonable, but a lot more reasonable. But I also put that I offer socialization with other dogs, playtime and so forth and so on, without charging extra, because a lot of places charge extra for that stuff.
That's perfect. So you know
Yeah.
what the objection is, and right away you already know how to overcome that objection. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Leslie.
Yeah.
Michelle.
I don't get a lot of price objections these days. I think probably because I'm more confident in my narrative. But every once in a while. I'm kind of at the point though, if they're that opposed to my process, they're probably not for me.
Well, I have a suggestion for you. If you're not getting a lot of objection to your prices, maybe it's time for you to raise them.
I raised them. I raised them last year. It's probably time to raise again, but you know, I do it real slow and steady because, you know, I do work too and actually do okay with that. So, but yeah, I'm not going to raise them to the point where they notice it.
Okay. Good
You know what I
plan.
mean?
Good plan.
Yeah.
Michelle, did you have a question? No?
No, I think I misunderstood, so I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Yay. Moving on. Ooh, did I miss something? No, that's it. Aha. Okay, so here's where it gets fun. You notice that my client avatar was named Wendy, right? And she's like 58 years old. She's a girl. She's retired from, she worked for a nonprofit organization in New York or Washington, D.C., someplace like that. She has 2 children and they're all grown up. She's an empty nester. She lives in the city like Washington, D.C. or New York. Her favorite quote is, don't wait, do it now. I told you what she did. Told you what she was probably a consultant for that NGO. She probably made in the $200,000 to $300,000 price range. She definitely has a bachelor's degree, if not a master's. And she loved to collect antiques. That's Wendy. So who's your client avatar? Ellen, you should have written all that down because that's probably yours too. No?
No, I'm not a gift shop. One of my clients is a gift shop.
Ah.
I send out cards.
Aha, okay. So anybody want to throw out a name at me? Name your client. Name your
Okay, so
client.
if I'm hearing correctly, then Ellen, maybe you're looking at this in a third person aspect, whereas those of us with send cards, we know, you know, like I just said at the beginning, we know what our, you know, target market is per se. You may be looking at who are our send out cards clients that we may be needing to assist them with what their avatar is. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly. If you,
Perfect.
and not only that, but just because you're in the same business as somebody else doesn't mean that your client avatar is the same as theirs. I am, you know, a lot of, okay. I know that Christy, who's here, she's a massage therapist, right? She knows a lot of massage therapists. She runs with massage therapists. So her ideal send out cards client is going to be a massage therapist or somebody in one of those industries, in a similar industry, because that's what she knows how to do, right? So Ellen has a client who's a gift shop. She helps that gift shop create a fantastic follow-up campaign. Suddenly, gift shops are her ideal client because she knows what to do already. So you're not only helping your clients, you're helping yourself. Does that make sense? Okay. Anybody else want to throw one at me? I mean, since some of you are here for send out cards, do you want to make one up for send out cards? Like, who would be your ideal client for your send out cards business?
Well, I got one.
Yes, that would be great.
Well, when she said that, it made me think because I'm a seamstress. And when I look at a lot of my clients or even affiliates, I met through my sewing, or they are sewists, or so I use that. But I never thought of putting it as an avatar, so I'm learning.
So here, okay, let's talk about Charlene the seamstress, who has 2 businesses. One is a seamstress, one is a send out cards consultant, right? Or I always say consultant. What is the title? Affiliate? Send out cards.
Affiliate. I had to think.
Okay, so those 2 businesses, they go hand in hand, right? There's this happens in your business, Charlene. And by the way, it's great to see you.
Sorry, I'm late.
So let's just say that your client avatar is Susie Seamstress, okay? And Susie Seamstress is a woman in her 60s, right? She's a female. She is also a seamstress, but she does it part-time because she likes to work from home, okay? But what she's found is that she is not reaching those clients like she used to, and she needs a way to follow up with those clients, those old clients, so that they come back to her for more work, right? So there's your client avatar, and, you know, and build on that, you know, build on top of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
But you also need a client avatar for your seamstress business, which is, you know, someone who's short, whose pants are always too long.
Oh, it's too much, yeah. True, that is, I get a lot of that.
Someone who's really tall and can't ever find pants that are the right length. Well, I like the basketball player avatar. Ooh, my client avatar are basketball players, female basketball players, because they are more style conscious, who are very tall, and they need to have custom clothes made to fit their tall bodies. And you can charge premium pricing for that client avatar because they have premium money.
That's cool.
Well, I'm going to add to that as well. On the other side of that, I've heard my whole life, well, you're so skinny, it must be so great for you. Yeah, no, it's not. Because first of all, I'm too tired all the time because I process my food too quickly. But the other side of that is I can't find pants that fit because I have really long legs and the waists are then too wide. And so I do have to pay someone to take my pants in. And so there's the other side of it, just a thought.
Yeah, I'm a very tall person who doesn't care to pay extra for pants that fit.
Well, we all have, you know, my torso is longer than my legs, and so I have to buy petite pants, but regular shirts. So we have funny bodies. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what the seamstress's business is, right? Because I know a lady, I wouldn't say she's a seamstress. She does quilting and she does embroider, but one of her things years ago that she wanted to do was to design patterns and teach children. So it depends on what area they're working in, you know, so that may be a perfect niche too, to find out, to have different avatars depending on what, as long as you don't have too many.
Yeah, and exactly. Just if you have a business that has multiple niches, then you should have an avatar for every niche, right? So you need, if you've got two businesses, you need at least two avatars, and hopefully there's enough crossover between the two avatars that they know each other. So an example of an avatar, and this comes straight out of the book, the one page marketing plan by Alan Dibb. So, and I cannot remember for the life of me what their names are, but the first avatar is the decision maker. And he's the one that loves to golf, and he loves to hang out on the golf course. And he, you know, he's the one who will make the decision to purchase. And then he has an assistant. We'll just call her Annie assistant. And his assistant loves to read fashion magazines and goes out partying too much. And, you know, she's really young. And you've got to, so you have two avatars, right? The first avatar, Annie, is the, what's that called? You know, the
Influencer.
no, not the influencer, but the gatekeeper. Annie is the gatekeeper, right? So you've got to market to Annie so that Annie can help you get to Fred, right? Or let's call Fred the assistant and Annie the decision maker, just for fair. So Fred is the partier who's real young, and you've got to get past Fred to get to Annie, who's the decision maker. So you've got to identify both of them and then figure out how to market to Fred so that you can get to Annie. And then when you go to Annie, you got to change your story. So I have a perfect example from my own personal experience of how this works. Many years ago, I had a person who worked for a guy, and is a security company, and the security company was You know, everybody there who worked for the company was ex-military. They had a very military style regime, and we were going to send out cards to this military regime. So his assistant was the one who was sold on the idea, because it was going to take time away from her, because she was sending all the birthday cards, right? The decision maker, he wanted to send birthday cards to all 600 of his security guards who worked for him. So she told me right away up front, okay, he doesn't like a lot of fluff. He won't spend a lot of time with you. He just wants facts. All right. I went in there, and I'm the daughter of a career military man. My father, he worked for the Department of the Army. He wasn't a soldier, but he worked for the Department of the Army. So I call myself an Army brat, because even though my father wasn't in the Army, he worked for the Department of the Army. I still had the same experience that someone, you know, we moved a lot, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So I put on that hat, and I went in there and I did my sales presentation for him in an extremely matter-of-fact way. I took less than 10 minutes to tell him about it, and he took out his credit card and he handed it to me. That is an example of knowing who your client is and selling to your client, right? If I had gone in there with my normal, how are you doing? Hug, 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 you know, self, he wouldn't have bought from me. But I adapted to what he needed so that we could close the sale, right? Okay, that's the value of knowing who your avatar is. Okay, we've got a little time, so I want to go back, because I know at this point you probably have more questions. Now that we've talked a little bit, where do we need to expand at the goals and values area?
So I have a lot of very diverse businesses that I have become in contact with. And so each individual business is going to require a different mindset in terms of evaluating their goals and values and whatnot. However, I am targeting one particular group right now, and it's funny that you use doggy daycare as the example, because my target right now is veterinarian offices, because everybody's pets are part of their family. And so I feel like they could really make those relationships stronger through send out cards. So I guess right now, I would like to focus on like goals for a vet's office. It would be maintaining clients, because there's so many choices. You can take your dog anywhere, but you want to build that relationship so they always come back to you. So wouldn't that be one of your goals and your values?
Maintain client relationships, and that goal can be stretched to across animals. I mean, we were committed to our vet in Conroe, and we lived in the same house for 15 years, which means we had multiple animals, and we never changed vets because we loved him. So
what was it that made you love him?
I'm sorry?
What was it that made you love him?
He was old school. Like, we didn't, if he, okay, so he had seen all of our pets, and if one of them was sick, he already knew the history of the cat, so he could prescribe an antibiotic if he knew. If I called and said she's still doing it, he wouldn't make me bring her in again. He would just prescribe the antibiotic for me, and I could go pick it up. Or, you know, so he didn't, oh, I know what it is. He didn't try to get more money out of us than, you know, a lot of.
He wasn't charging you for office visits and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. So he valued our time, I guess, too. Yeah, and he just was, matter of fact, he explained things very well, and he got to the root of things. When we moved here, our dog got really sick, and we couldn't figure out why. And I know that if we had still been going to him, he would have figured it out right away. So he had good diagnostic skills. Well, you made me really think there, Michelle.
Michelle, I can tell you from personal experience, 7 years ago, I took my dogs, almost exactly 7 years ago, I took both of my dogs because they got into a fight with a raccoon to a vet, and they were the only vet that could see them that day. And they sent me a card way before I ever started working with Send Out Cards. They sent me a card, and I got it within a few days because obviously they sent it the same day. Just checking on the animals. I've never used them again, but I have referred them because I can tell you exactly where their office is, who the vet was, and the name of the veterinarian 7 years later.
Wow, that's impressive.
Leave that.
It was because they sent me a card.
Right.
When
Well,
you
that's a good
repeat that
testimonial
story-
for the cards.
Yeah, when you repeat that story, leave the part out where she said, I've never used them again.
Right? They were not local to me, is why.
Okay.
It was because I was willing to drive because my dogs had gotten into the fight with the raccoon.
So if they had been local to you, would you have made a switch
Yes.
because of that card?
Yes.
Very good.
That is good. All right, does anybody else want to discuss anything on the goals and values?
Okay, I'm gonna put my hat in. I have a plant-based lifestyle educator and coach business. It's just starting, and so I'm kind of like, I guess I need to figure out what are the goals and values and what clients I am looking for.
So plant-based, they probably want to get healthier.
Right.
Their values are, they probably are vegetarians or vegans because they, for whatever reason, people are vegetarians and vegans. I was a vegetarian for like 5 years because I read that stupid book that I don't want to talk about right now. And I couldn't eat meat for 5 years. So
yeah.
I'm
an approachable vegan, so you're not going to turn me off by I'm looking for the people who are kind of looking, they want to get healthier, because I became vegan for health reasons. I would reverse my type 2 diabetes that was in my family. So, but I never thought of, creating my ideal clients, because it is kind of one of those things, when people hear, oh, vegan, plant-based, oh gosh, but I want to let them know that it is doable. It's, let's make it easy, cost effective. You have to just, know some little things here and there.
So, okay, your client's goals are to get healthier. Probably to understand how to create a complete protein from vegetables and fruits. Okay, because that's really important, is understanding the complete proteins. If you're a vegetarian and you aren't getting your proteins,
yeah, and understanding that a lot of this is marketing from other sources that are telling us we're deficient in protein, which we're not, but to understand what the different values are in the food.
You've just educated us, so that might be one of their goals, but your job is to educate them on how to be a good vegetarian, right? How to be a good plant-based, So they want to be educated, they want to be healthy, and they want to get educated, and they probably value exercise and the outdoors, and
I think they value their time and money, that because it's always told to them that it's too confusing, and it costs too much to eat fruits and vegetables and eat organically and non-processed food.
when you cut meat out of your diet, though, you're saving, I mean, $6 a package at least. You could be saving $25 or $30 off your grocery bill just by cutting meat out.
Right. So,
Well,
Or
that
more.
could be something that you have in there too. And part of your avatar is, even if it maybe how to lower your grocery bill, even if you're not going to go completely vegetarian, if you could just switch 1 or 2 meals a week.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then
I love
before
that. Lower
that-
your grocery bill with a plant-based diet. That is brilliant, Christy.
Okay.
Write that down, Eve. Lower
I
your
am.
grocery bill with a plant-based diet.
Is that from the dog sitter? Because I
No,
used
that's
to have a
from the
dog
massage
sitting
therapist.
business that I transferred over.
Okay. So let's move on to challenges and pain points. Let's go back to this one. Questions here. Do we want to round this out? Because I want you guys to actually be able to fill out your sheet when I email it to you. So when I send you this, I want you to be able to actually fill it out and print it. So questions here. Michelle.
Okay, so I have a totally another customer that I could really kind of use some brainstorming with. She is a PC recycling person. So she takes all your old PCs and things like that, and she recycles them so they don't go into a landfill. So she has a hard time getting finding her client and what her idea, like she knows who her clients are, but getting them to understand how the value and sending their stuff to her versus giving it to Goodwill or throwing it away.
Okay. So does she work with businesses or individuals?
She works with both. So like right now, like we were talking about how can we do a community event of some sort? How could she target the community event using cards to be able to get people to bring their stuff in?
Oh my gosh, and she needs to offer that nationwide, because had I known about her months ago, and I want her information because, oh my gosh, she needs to offer that like on Facebook even, like to get that out there. You guys will come up with the major special way, I'm sure, but just so you know, yeah, that's an incredible service.
So there is a company out there that you can take your Amazon box, fill it with clothes, and they'll print off a label for you and cover the shipping, and you ship the box of clothes to them and they distribute it to charities. Is that how is she recycling these PCs?
So she has a couple of things that she does with them. Some of them she wipes clean all the hard drives, and she works with a certified company that has you have to have a certain certification to prove that you're legitimately clearing all that and not reusing anybody's information. And that's one of the hurdles I think that is getting people to trust getting over that. So once that's cleared, then once all your hard drives and everything are cleared, then she can either, if it's in good condition, she can refurbish them, and then turn around and sell them or donate them. Or if it's something that is not going to be refurbished, there's a nonprofit that she sends stuff to called Smash Therapy. And they literally let you go in and rent time to be able to smash and get your frustrations out. And you smash all of these things that she sends over there into tiny little pieces, and then they break them up, and then they send off the pieces to, like, the plastics go for recycling with plastics, and for all the different parts and things like that. So it's not ending up in just a landfill. And then there's apparently, what I've learned from her in the process of this is that people are putting, like, there's gold and silver inside of our computers. I didn't know that. And people are literally putting them in the trash. And we are running out, like, there's more of our gold and silver and things like that in the landfills than there are in our natural resources. I had no clue. So, like, as they're breaking it down, they're sending it and breaking it down and reusing all the pieces that are inside of all these things. that make sense?
Yeah. Interesting. So having an event is a really good idea. And she could partner with churches, schools, businesses, Best Buy. Shoot, if she partners with somebody like Best Buy and they provide a $5 coupon or 10 or 15% off coupon to everybody who comes in, that's a win-win for everybody. In terms of the
Right.
card, I'd have to think a little bit more. But back to challenges and pain points. Her challenge is she's having trouble explaining what she does to the target market. So, and her pain point is getting the word out there.
Right.
So that's a solution that you can solve, and that's something we'll have to talk about. Yeah, we can't solve that one right now.
Gotcha.
That's gonna take a little bit more. Okay, what time is it? Okay, we got 10 minutes before the timer goes off. So do you guys have any questions on this one, or is this one pretty self-explanatory? Other is like, what do they collect? What sports do they play? Where do they, where do they hang out when they're not working? Are they drinkers? Are they smokers? Do they like cigars? This question here, what do they covet? What do they want? What do they not have now that they want? Oops, I hit the wrong button. Any questions there? I know magazines is old school, like whoever reads magazines anymore, but I keep hitting that button.
I do. I love magazines.
but where do they hang out? Do they hang out on Facebook? Do they hate Facebook? Do they hang out on LinkedIn? Do they hang out on Instagram? And if they hang out on Instagram, how can you reach them? Well, that's not what, today we're not focusing on how to reach them. Today we're focusing on who they are and where they hang out. How to reach them is what comes next. But any questions here? No. Okay, and remember, you're getting this in the email, the follow-up email, when I send you the replay. Awesome. Okay, objections and roles. This is like overcoming their objections is one of the most important parts of the sales process. So knowing what their possible objections are up front will really, really help you. So what would prevent them from buying from you? I hate that I have that stupid typo on this page. Decision maker. Are they the decision maker? So this is the one you really need to focus on, this one, because when you can answer this one and then you can come up with a solution to their objection, you can sell to anybody. So questions here. You guys write notes? I love it. I see a lot of really serious faces. Okay. And then this one is a lot of making it up, but be realistic. If you sell, oops, back forward. If you sell $100,000 yachts, then the annual income of your client isn't going to be $100,000 a year. It's going to be, $1 million and up, right? So, and a yacht is probably more than $100,000. $100,000 boats, right? Okay, so you got to be really realistic here, and when if you know that they make a certain level of income, they're probably not hanging out in the same place. If they make 3 times what you make, let's say their annual income is $1 million, and yours is $100,000. Well, you're not hanging out at the same places that they're hanging out. So you got to figure out exactly where they're hanging out and how to get there. Who do you know who can take you there? Or how can you break into that? And when you do break into it, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So true story, in 2009, my husband and I made a bed for a couple who, they're fashion designers. They're very famous, actually. They started off with wedding dresses and they moved into shoes, and they're very, very famous. And Elle Decor did a spread on their home, and the bed that we made for their home was the front page picture on Elle Decor. All right. I don't own a home that would ever be in Elle Decor, ever. I have like no taste. I have very well made furniture, because I know quality, but I don't decorate well. So I would never have gotten myself into Elle Decor, but my client got into Elle Decor, and based on that article in 2009, in 2017, when we closed our business, we were still getting, because the article was also, not only was it in the magazine, it was also on their website, but in 2017, when we closed our business, we were still getting inquiries about that bed that was in that magazine article. And people called it the Badgley Mishka bed. They didn't call it the name of our bed. They called it the Badgley Mishka bed because that was who purchased it. Okay. So, I mean, that was luck, but you probably know somebody, one of your existing clients, and all you need to say is, okay, Samantha, I want to know where you hang out. And that is beyond the scope of this class. But Samantha, I want to know where you hang out and how to get there. So you can actually, if you have an existing client base, you can actually survey them, but that's beyond the scope of today's class. Okay, so we are